Welcome back to the panel. Great to be with you. James Morrow here sitting in for Credlin tonight here. We've got our second panel for the evening. Another great pair, Nick Cater and Terry Barnes. You know them both very well. I want to bring in the panel here, gentlemen, talk about what's going on down in Victoria here. A bit more chaos in the Victorian Liberal Party. Sam Groth, Victoria's deputy opposition leader, has decided that he's going to retire at the state election. We don't know exactly why that's going on, but it is more controversy, and he said that the public pressure placed on my family in recent months has been significant, and realizing that some of it came from within my own party has been difficult to ignore. Terry Barnes from the Menzies Research Institute and, Menzies Research Center, senior fellow Nick Cater, and Terry Barnes from The Spectator. Great to have you here. Terry, what do we know here about Sam Groth? I have seen some social media from people within the Victorian Liberal Party basically clapping him out the door. This seems like a very odd bit of behavior so close to an election, Terry Barnes.
Well, certainly, James, it's a pretty strange situation. We're talking about a first-term MP as well as the deputy leader, basically walking out the door, and he endured some very tough times in terms of allegations that were thrown about him, his wife. There was a defamation action that was resolved in his favour. But certainly I think it shows that the Victorian Liberal Party, or the parliamentary Victorian Liberal Party, just hasn't sorted itself out. I mean, yes, Sam Groth is a record-holding speed server when it comes to tennis, but he certainly aced his own team today. But really, they were firing balls at him in all directions ever since he became elected. And look, it's the factional show that happens down here in the Victorian Liberals, the Conservatives and the moderates at each other. And Sam Groth as a new MP and a new to politics came in 2022. I just don't think he was ready for that. And I just think that it's showing that no matter what Jess Wilson, the new leader, has done, at a time when Victorians are actually paying attention and listening to her and saying, oh, look, there may be a chance of a change of government in November, they go and shoot themselves in the foot again. And don't forget, this is the second resignation today because the senior backbencher, former Minister Wendy Lovell, has also pulled the plug. So all of a sudden, the Liberals are starting to look chaotic, just business as usual as far as they're concerned.
Yeah, well, Nick Cater, I mean, this isn't just a Victorian problem. Let's be frank here. There's problems in the New South Wales Parliamentary Party. There's problems federally with this whole fight between the moderates and the Conservatives, and particularly the moderates, who sometimes seem, I think, frankly, much more interested in taking out Conservatives from their own rank than taking Labor governments out of power.
I don't get it, James. I mean, I would have thought both the sides of the moderates and the Conservatives or centre-right people in the party would both be united on one point: we have to get into government. And less than a year out now from an election, you've got Jess Wilson there, who seems to be a pretty, solid person, particularly on economics. She presents well. Wouldn't you just say, OK, bury your differences, let's just get behind Jess, let's just bite our lips for the next year, and then we're going to get into government? Because they should win government on paper, but of course it's very possible that they won't.
Indeed. Hey, gentlemen, I also want to move on. I spoke earlier in the program about the useful idiots who are out there protesting in favor of Venezuelan dictator or former dictator Nicolas Maduro. And we've had some action here in Sydney. Emergency protests have been mobilized across Australia in response to Trump's action. And around 250 protesters gathered in Sydney despite warnings from the police that the gathering was not authorized under the new police powers authorized following the Bondi attack. They were waving placards that said, "Down with imperialism" and "U.S. out of Latin America." Terry Barnes, this really feels almost like a Back to the Future kind of moment here, with the Yankee go home sort of thing. But is there no dictator that the left will not stoop to supporting if they're anti-American?
Well, yes, you took the words right out of my mouth, actually, James. I mean, it's very Back to the Future, very 1960s, isn't it? I mean, you can see them sort of marching with their long hair and the hippie beads and everything. But certainly, it's interesting. It's the left here. I noticed Jeremy Corbyn in the UK. They're all rallying behind Maduro. The Venezuelans themselves, the people of Venezuela, they seem absolutely delighted he's been decapitated in a political sense. And certainly I think Whatever you think about the way that the Trump administration is handling this, and I think I've got questions about what happens now. And I think these are very important questions. The fact that he decided to act decisively against an all-but communist dictator with ties to Cuba, ties to Russia, ties to China, and certainly very, very anti-American, and not to mention all those drugs that he's been running, or allegedly been, because he's now being charged. Really, I mean, what does the left have to do? I mean, they've got nothing to do in their holidays, obviously, except turn and actually do these protests.
Well, Nick, I mean, it's pretty funny to me here, too, because it feels like they've just, shamelessly and very quickly pirouetted and pivoted. First it was climate several years ago, and then it became Hamas and Palestine and Free Gaza and all of that stuff. And now, oh, hey, the new memos come down, we're all pro-Maduro.
It's weird, James. I mean, of course, the left have always got it completely wrong about Venezuela. You remember how the left were absolutely in love with Maduro's dictator predecessor, Hugo Chavez. I mean, they loved him till the last minute, and yet he was a terrible man who drove his own people into poverty and just ran down the oil industry. They're just terrible judges of character. I mean, you could go through the people they've backed over the years. Pol Pot, Cuba, the whole Cuba thing. I mean, I think they still love Cuba. It's just a strange knee-jerk reaction from them because they basically can't bring themselves to support their own country, America.
Indeed. Hey, Nick, I wanted to stick with you for a second here because you've done so much great writing about the energy debate. And there was a story today in The Australian that reported that data from the Australian Energy Market Operator, or AEMO, has revealed that wholesale power prices fell over the last 3 months, they claim, due to milder weather and, get this, a lift in renewable energy generation. I'm not sure I buy this. Nick, what are your thoughts on these claims?
Hey, nobody pays wholesale prices for electricity. Nobody. Everybody pays the retail price, which is the wholesale price, plus the systems costs. That's the transmission, that's the firming, that's everything else that goes into it. And as we know, those system costs rise the more renewable energy you put into it. I'm not surprised that the wholesale price has gone down, because if you look in the middle of the day, almost every day now, in one state or another, the price is less than zero. You're having to pay to give your electricity away, and it's only worthwhile because of the government subsidies. So it's nuts. It means absolutely nothing, except AEMO's just whistling to keep its courage up.